So words and language have power. It really creates reality. It really has lots of intensity, and it was always that way. And especially today, when we're more accessible on the net, where the words flow very freely, then the word even has an even greater force. And on this show, we'd like to talk about the force of a good word. What is its power? As we know, life and death are in the power of the tongue, so we'd like to deal with the life part of it. If we use good words, how can it create a better life? Or vice versa. Vice versa, meaning it has two sides. Yes. So we know about the bad part, about slander and libel. No, 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 no. Even if you want to say good words, you have to be very careful. Okay, so he who spares his rod hates his son. Meaning, if I behave only through the right line, through mercy and love, only good words, I destroy him. I destroy my child. And also with respect to any other person. Meaning, here we have to understand that there are two reigns, right and left, judgment and mercy. And in between them, we have to find the golden path and to behave this way with each other. Not too much in order not to spoil a person, not too many good words. Yes. And also not too much criticism, even if it's the right kind of criticism. We always have to be in the middle to think how to correctly relate to him in order to help him to be built in a more advanced internal spiritual manner. I'd like to share with you. Recently, I was at this event, and in order to create a good atmosphere among the people there, there was an exercise. They called this exercise the River of Compliments. We were sitting around this big table, and there were people that kind of know each other. And after we went through this certain process together, they said, okay, those that organized this event, they said, now we have a special exercise. Each one looks at the person to his right. Suppose I look at Nitsa, and from the bottom of your heart, you give her a compliment. I looked. It was really awkward to hear the exercise, but people, they're open. And it was interesting for me to see how people behave. And suddenly I saw, at first, the person who had to compliment the person on the right was really hard for him, but somehow he found some words. And then I looked at the people who got the compliment, and suddenly I felt that it as if gives them some new spirit. It was like a flower that you didn't water for a year, and suddenly you give it water. Suddenly it's all really. And how did she look at you? Like this. Yeah, yeah, drinking it. Can't disconnect. Right. I felt that she's becoming addicted to those words like a baby drinking from his mother. It's such a fulfillment. So from this place, I want to understand what's going on here. I understand that words have power, but before this exercise, before participating in it myself, getting a compliment and giving a compliment, I never felt these things before. So how could it be that I tell her good words and she really gets a new life? I don't know how to describe it because it's really so. I fill her soul. How does it happen? How do his words, even if he doesn't know me, could suddenly create this kind of. If it's good words, if it's beautiful words, you can't break them. You have to hear them. On the contrary, you open yourself up. May they come in, without any resistance, right? Yeah? That's how we are. What kind of fulfillment does it give? Egoistic, simple egoistic, but direct egoistic fulfillment. What do you mean? It comes from a foreign source and in the most direct way, in the most massive, powerful way, penetrates me and fills my entire ego. And what does it do to me? What would you tell her? How smart you are, how special you are, how beautiful you are. I wanted to tell you this all the time, but I didn't know you're such a personality. From different sides, aspects. And the person starts feeling like a baby, like mom's taking him into her arms. What does a small child that his mom takes him on her arms, what does he feel? I can't remember. It's been 40 years. What does he feel? He feels that the mother is the creator, the higher force, and the higher force lifts him even higher than himself. What does the baby feel? How does a baby accept his mom? How does he see her? That she's everything in the world. That's all there is. The greatest, the most important, the knowing everything, everything, everything. And by being connected to her, I'm covered 100%. And suddenly, this woman, meaning this term, the great, I call it creator, the greatest, the higher force. This higher force elevates me as a baby and elevates me even higher than itself, puts me on its head. See how all of reality is built in order to grow pride in us, our ego. So the fact that this is how we start treating others towards us, he becomes like a baby because these things, these emotions, he heard this only from his mother, like you're saying. Last time I heard it 40 years ago, right? So a person opens all of his media lines. He's ready to fill them up. And then you actually influence and influence him. And the more you do, the more cleaved onto you he becomes. Meaning you raise him by giving him a compliment, yes. And then you tie him to yourself. What does it do to the giver of the compliment? He himself, he conquers you. Conquers you. You'll want to get this pleasure again and again because the moment he stops, as if something's already missing, it has to renew every time. And therefore you're looking further. Where can I get it? And therefore when we grow up out of small children and we're no longer being taken care of like before, if later in life we have the same attitude like as we were small kids, that we had full abundance at home and we were always with people that love us, and I go out into the world and there it's the very opposite, people that suppose hate me. And if I relate to them as to my household, then I'm not fit for life. I can't exist. You really have to teach a person how to relate to strangers. I saw people that were pampered at home in every aspect, and then, they barely get along in life.